Yeah, hey, welcome to Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I'm John.
I'm Annie.
And we're really excited to have y'all here for the week. Really excited to be working with Daisha and Steve and all of you just to make some magic happen here in the Smokies this week. And just got a really great week planned. If you set the tables, you will get the opportunity to bring our triangle to call everyone else to the meal. It's kind of an honor. I don't get to do it very often, but I'll show you what it sounds like. You just drag it around and...
So we say, like, you don't necessarily need a mountain or this beautiful stream to connect and make meaning with the places around you. So we're here in this place. We're here at Tremont. We're here in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. We just want to take a moment to welcome you to this place. Right now, this is the only time in the history of all history that this group of people will be here in this place all together. Never again will that be true that at 6:58 on this very Monday will this group of people be in the Smokies at Tremont together. And that's pretty special and offers a lot of opportunity for us across the week.
Two of us at the table at least felt a connection to their family. I said the first person I connected to was my dad, who used to bring me hiking.
All right, I'm going to read you a short poem. I want you to think about your 6 minutes you just had sitting someplace nearby. On a Monday evening, in the Smokies, with the sun just right about there. And this is Mary Oliver, sleeping in the forest. I thought the earth remembered me. She took me back so tenderly, arranged her dark skirts with pockets full of seeds and lichens. I slept as never before, a stone on the riverbed, nothing between me and the white fire and the stars of my thoughts. They floated light as moss among the branches of the perfect trees. All night, I heard the small kingdoms breathing around me, the insects and the birds who do their work in the darkness. All night, I rose and fell as if in water, grappling with a luminous doom. By morning, I had vanished at least a dozen times into something better.
The park, Great Smoky Mountains, it's finally here, right?
But we're here, we're going to end the week with something that we should all start our year off with, and that's just mindfulness and just taking care of ourselves. So thanks for making this a big deal. Next summer, we're going to be in 12 national park sites. That sounds crazy, but it is very doable. So we encourage you to keep following us and just boom, clap, snatch.
I got you.
I'm gonna lose every single thing.
Clap, boom, clap, boom. Snatch. It's for the big bananas right here. This is the big thing. Clap, 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 clap. Boom, 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 boom. Clap, clap, boom, boom. Boom, boom, clap, clap. Clap, boom, clap, clap.
Food, safety, community building, kindness, and guidance. Outside of my classroom, you know, I can't make sure a new pencil, or whatever, a partner, whatever. But you can do a lot of it with your students.
Study the students' best well-being, like, so they need breakfast before you can teach them. They need a hug before they're going to. So all of my stuff has like 4 blooms.
So I bring in a box of cereal for them.
What's in your pocket? And like Daisha mentioned, I do have a toddler who loves to be read to before bed. So I'll do my best. What's in your pocket? When you explore the great outdoors and find something strange and wonderful, do you put it in your pocket? Scientists collect specimens so they can observe the details of natural artifacts.
Steve and I separately grew up camping in national parks, and then once we met each other, we got married and brought our own kids. What experiences are you bringing to this particular Steve in the park? Let me give you just a minute or two to write some of those experiences down. Bring out your phone and your bodies. If you share with someone and you notice that they're the third person standing around you with nobody, bring them into the fold. Do not share with anybody that's at your table that you just... Everyone, we are glad to see that you're awake, and or at least what we call awake. Hope you had a good night. We have a big day planned, a lot of stuff. We're thinking sleep is probably overrated for the next couple of days, so we'll try to stay up and just get as much in as possible. I want you to choose a knot that intrigues you, that might represent you as a person. So take a moment, be thoughtful. What knot do you want to try? So you're gonna choose someone that you haven't met yet personally, but I want you to introduce yourself and then tell them why you chose that knot.
What did you say? It's a very economical knot. It's handy for equalizing and fixing a line by minimal gear.
The size of my baby.
Yes.
I don't know. So I make three, and I'm wondering if you got to start with this. So that
How'd you start it out?
Oh, seriously?
And back to back.
I'm Jan. Now, which one is one end?
This is the open book.
Oh,
There's two holes.
okay, got it.
And then you're gonna
And that's
pull
where it keeps messing up.
forward and
And that's where it keeps messing up.
Give me try again. Start from the beginning.
With
Okay.
part of the rope going through the.
So I've got two loops like that.
I know we have some people that have some unusual things in common, so that's all the more fun. We're good with that. Both have metal in their bodies.
We're metal.
Anybody else in the circle have metal in their bodies besides maybe a filling? That's crazy that you can be.
Now it is competitive. So 15 points is our goal.
Yeah, you can leave stuff for it. Just remember where you put it. Leave it. Snack time.
Welcome back from the exploring. I saw like so many excited faces, like curious minds, talking with each other about it already. But just wanted to hear, what did that feel for you, like a learner? Like, what did that experience feel like for you? We'll just popcorn tear out.
Exciting.
How so?
Just all the new things. That's just every little thing I saw was something that was familiar but unfamiliar. And I found that I just lacked the time and resources to dig into everything before something else caught my eye.
Yeah, it's like we sometimes go through the world in a tunnel kind of, and it's like tree, rock, stuff. But then like when you have that permission to explore at a deeper level, like understanding it or connecting with it in a new way. What else? How else did that feel for others?
I think it's kind of along the same lines, but I realized my observation skills. At first, it's just like scanning, and then I would think I had looked at an area, but I'd look again, and I was like, oh, I didn't see that. So it was just making myself slow down and see everything in a space.
I love how you said like slowing down, now that like unveils those layers.
More people gather. What did it feel like to slowly unfold your friend to your partner and then eventually have them meet your friend out in the real world? What did that do for you? We could just popcorn around.
My friend left. So it was kind of anticlimactic. We spoke with my friend, and then we got there, my friend was gone. So my friend lives in Canada.
Okay, yeah. We're not gonna just sit around and just wait for you to come back. Come on.
You're very lucky. So, very lucky.
Were similar, which just threw me for a loop because then one of my questions was, "Are you a plant or an animal?" And she said neither. And, yeah. Kind of really
that one.
Were you the water?
So, as John was saying, we know that our Sallys are some special friends that are here in the park. And then we can learn a lot about them and we can learn a lot from them. So today we're going to have a chance to do a little scientific investigation about salamanders. To be able to do that, we first need to catch said salamanders so that we can get a little bit better of a closer look, decide what are the things we want to ask, what are the things we want to know. And we're going to catch them in a really specific way because we know that it's stressful to salamanders, stressful to their habitat. We know that when we stress salamanders out,
He's a big guy.
Yeah. Well, you know, there'll be some big ones.
Ready? Do you want me to decide? Do you want to do that?
I can.
Because I'm guessing he's going to...
We're gonna win it.
Yes. Got one.
Probably want to get 2 hands on.
Right.
So that is a little bit bigger.
Thanks, Pierre.
Oh, you got him. You got him. Pick up the bag.
Good job.
Good job. Yay.
Magnification goes a long ways.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Beautiful.
Oh, he's big.
Got some weight to him.
Our spots both on the sides and on the back. Toes, number of toes, and if there's any details about the toes, like little blackened. Probably came up with a question or 2. Now we want to collect those questions. Outside of nowhere, like, bing, there's this question. We're at that point now, like, we need a question. We need something that we're curious about that we could actually answer.
Oh, they got a couple over there.
Most of it, yes.
Because we didn't pay any attention to it, it'll be fairly consistent.
Okay. True. So this is for a overall or body light colored, yellowish, golden, or red.
okay, so we said body light colored, yellowish, golden, or red, dark stripes are
In here? Yep. Oh, sorry, the little book.
I know we're still writing a little bit on one of these, but we want to have each group to just have a chance to share what they managed to find numerically or quantitative.
And we had 9 total salamanders captured today, and out of the 9, we identified that how many of them? 7 of them were seal dusky, and then only 1 was a spotted dusky, and then
okay, so we're the most of the weight team. It doesn't sound great, but there were 2 of them that hit the max, and so we just said they were 10. They were probably more, we don't know, but we estimated that as best as we could. Yeah, and then at the end we just got an average estimate of all the salamanders, so we could kind of say the average was like 4.9 grams.
We had a lot of information, so we decided just to go on location, and so we to the best of our knowledge of where we saw them, we didn't think about this until after all the tones were picked up. Drew out the map of where they were located.
You to get your partner to be able to guess what animal is hanging on their back. Ready? So if you have been lanyard, if you come on out here, that'll help. Yes.
Do I live in...
Is it a fancy?
Okay,
Do I live in the
so
ocean?
now you're asking, am I?
Oh, that was a hesitant answer. Okay.
Think about that for now. How is this birdie?
All right. Does it have eyes?
Probably.
Okay.
You're good on that.
Okay. Did we?
I'm gonna do that straight here.
Sometimes.
Am I a duck?
Do I have antlers?
Sit comfortably so that you do not need to move or rustle the leaves or branches or grasses around you. Close your eyes and breathe deeply and slowly.
I don't like heights, other than mountains, what I'm climbing, but I guess I would like to share with you one of my biggest dreams, being passionate about literacy. I would love to provide the children
In a little bit, I'll talk about what we're going to be doing this morning, and as well as like a favor I'm going to be asking of the group, the time period to like how long you would like time till you would like perish without one of these things. Does that make sense? So like yeah, like 3 seconds without coffee. Take 4 minutes or so, and it seems like we've got it. We'll debrief. Seems like so. Let's start off with 3 minutes. 3 minutes without air. Looks like both groups got that. 3 hours without shelter from extreme conditions. We've got that both places. 3 days without water. All right, and then 3 weeks without food. Cool. Our walk and talks and bring it in for a whole group conversation. So, well, I'd like to hear what was discussed between you and...
Weather conditions or extreme conditions.
I just said extreme
Did we say fires?
We talked about
Physically build?
What was that?
We're physically building it?
Yep. Yeah, and so we're going to kind of break this up in terms of the tasks. Your first task is to think about assembling your team. After you assemble your team, again, it can be any size as long as everybody in your team can fit in your shelter. I would like you to take some time and scout a location. And then what I'd like you to do is to kind of draw a schematic or a diagram of what you picture your shelter could be like.
Use your resources.
I may do some solar panels.
thunderstorm. Lots of rain, and so we want to.
A little more.
Wash your hands before you talk. Oh, that too.
Yeah. We'll put our hands down.
Girls, don't do it.
Yep. And we had a couple of seconds that said it's a research thing, but apparently we're allowed to. So
Some nice long
We
sticks.
didn't even double check. No.
it's good.
So, got a chance to walk around and see the shelters being built, but not everybody has had that opportunity, and there's lots of different ideas and locations. And so what I'd like us to do is a quick tour of our shelters, and then after we do that tour, we're going to take our shelters down, and then we'll transition into our next survival skill.
Rhododendron leaves, because they're big and waxy, like the branches woven through to help watershed.
Yeah, and then we would also use the hemlocks if this were a real situation, like the rhododendrons would be the water repellent and then the hemlocks would be the filler. But one of the things...
Finish wrapping all the logs in there and then start adding them.
Great.
Yeah, and then we use the rain jackets as another layer of waterproofing, and the pine needles as fillers, and we're gonna try. And one thing we did think about is the positive mental attitude.
so that we have a beautiful overlook. So if we get depressed and sad about our situation, we can look out and enjoy the beauty and bring us back up again.
We were looking at a teepee design because we know that the Native Americans use it and it's tried and true. It was going to run down, yes.
Probably the water would flow along that path away from our shelter.
And
obviously we got the big tree to shelter us some as well.
And after 3 weeks, we'll have to sacrifice someone to eat. So it'll get even bigger, more space for us.
Packed in people. We had more time just building it up and building it up. Does anyone want to talk about our technology here? Yeah, our tech. I had a raincoat, and we had a couple of other various items. So we used the raincoat as part of our shelter, and we turned the hood inside out here to collect water as a water collection.
We naturally went straight with structure. You know, we're the only cabin or hut that has a swimming pool to give us the structure.
Resources wisely
available. Like any good survivalist would.
Yeah.
And then given more time, like everybody said, a lot of these rotten, bug-infested logs would be replaced with stuff with leaves that could help us out.
So we had bugs to eat and water to drink, and we wouldn't have to leave.
They have an awesome name. This is the Hobo Hut.
I wonder if we could leave our fire pit here with just aesthetics.
Yeah. I mean, it was hard to get when we came.
Yeah. And fire is something that can be used. It's a tool that can be used to meet a lot of different survival needs. Water purification, for example, by boiling water. I'm going to throw out a test for the whole group. Our goal is to build a fire big enough to heat up water so that we can brew medicinal tea from a wild edible that grows around here.
A little stuff first, right? Before we start to add ether.
The smaller stuff.
Aquarius, the water bearer.
The very first question you asked us was, what does survival mean to you? At the very beginning of everything, I would bring it back.
It's a communal thing. There was nothing that like one person did on their own. Yeah, I think this one's made it. Yeah.
And as we mentioned, at the beginning of our journey together, our broad focus, we had a couple of sustainable goals that we want to keep in mind. What have we learned so far with Sweden, where we can continue to get better as educators? So just a very general brainstorm session. I'd recommend a web with the goal, or maybe both goals, on your paper, and just shoot ideas all over that paper.
How to sustain that. But then my brother worked on it. I was thinking with life sciences, like a scavenger hunt.
Getting, and that was a really small space.
Never heard of that program. What's that program?
The LIFT program.
Yeah.
It might just be union.
They call it engineering feelings. It's amazing. Our guidance counselor, Emily. They talked about their branch out to what we related back to. So one of them was the salad. We did have two. I think they did have one.
Okay, so I like this image.
Pretty.
Anything, and then we will get ready to head out to our free afternoon. We have some great pictures that some of you took. You guys know that I love John Dewar. One of his, which is a lesser known quote, is part of an essay he wrote. It's called I Am Well Again. I came to life in the cool winds and crystal waters of the mountain. So words really do matter. So I want you to think about a word that means something to you.
But I got one side, the one burnt, and the other side.
Your first one.
And double chocolate in it and everything.
Chocolate. marshmallow. This is the double chocolate with no other chocolate, so maybe not even a real s'more. But we're gonna try it and find out how good it is. Hold on. Yes. Yes. That's good.
Yeah, it is.
So, okay, Cades Cove, we have a few things we do want to do there, but if you ever get a chance to come back to the Smokies, you could easily spend days there because there's so much. There's like wildlife kind of things to do there. There's geological points of interest because it's an unusual geological area, but it's also mainly a cultural phenomenon. There's all these historic home sites, and then there's all these just rolling meadows. You know, it was a thriving community in the 1800s. You know, maybe as many as 700-800 people lived there. There's various churches. You will see signs to them. We're going to stop at one of the churches, one of the first ones, the Primitive Baptist Church. The timeline goes like about 1818, 1819. You know, all this, of course, in that time was whose land? This is Cherokee Nation. You know, all throughout the Southeast, 7 states. You know, this is all settled very, very thoroughly by the Cherokee all throughout these mountains. Were sacred places and towns. And yet in 1818, while it was all still Cherokee territory, John and Lucretia or Lurena Oliver made their way into Cades Cove. And it's just the two of them, this young husband and wife, going out to make their lives. And there's all sorts of stories about them, and the John Oliver cabin is one of the first things we'll pass. But it's quite clear they would have been dead. They would have been dead months after they arrived had it not been for the generosity of the Cherokee who were living there too and realized these people don't know how to survive where they are. And the Cherokee brought them all these dried pumpkins and gourds and things that they ate throughout their first winter. But they did survive and ended up being the first part of a long then community that lived in Cades Cove. And then the Cherokee were you know, forcibly removed shortly thereafter from this whole area, and then the Trail of Tears was the 1830s, you know, driven west and all the death and mayhem that was part of that. But Cades Cove survived as this community of churches and grist mills and stores and just a lot of people and a lot of tradition that lasted up until not that long ago. There were people who were living in Cades Cove, you know, within the last 30 years. The very last of the people that had the lifetime leases, which is what the park offered people who wouldn't leave. You could live here as long as you live, and then that would be the end of that. So yeah, there's all sorts of other history there, but you know that we're not going to go into. But I hope you enjoy just the scenery of it. It's got these rolling hills. It's the only place in the park that has this kind of farmland meadow surrounded by mountains.
All right, so on the first piece of paper that you just drew on, would you title this at the top, First Look? First Look. That was where I immediately threw you into the deep end and said you can't look at your paper and you just have to draw. So the idea behind that is that your pencil's connected to your fingers, which are connected to your hands, which are connected to your wrists, which are connected to your elbows, which is connected to your neck, which holds your head and houses your brain. And if you leave that connection together, that what you see would go straight. So almost like taking the picture and it going to a digital printer. Now some of your printers need to be worked on, but because we're not used to that. Like we're used to looking and then going back down and fixing what we think is true. Think about when you first learned how to draw a tree in kindergarten and you did it and you thought it was beautiful and the teacher said, no, that's wrong, do it like this, right? So we want to be able to draw what we actually see.
So take a look around. This is just a nice place to notice details of the building. The main cabin is here. It's got some interesting features. I'm not going to really say a whole lot now because I want you to look first, but do look carefully and try to figure out why. There's some unusual features to the house. Why is it like that?
So yay!
So, an overview of this process will be 3 parts, 3 quick parts. We're going to list it. We're going to list vocabulary terms to give you a hint. That's the recall portion of this activity. Then we're going to draw it. That's going to cause us to move into Bloom's taxonomy of understanding from recall to analysis. And then from analysis, we're going to use it. We're going to use it to create something. That's the top of Bloom's pyramid, right? So recall, analysis, create. And in the classroom, we want to think about how we can enhance our instructional approaches to get to that top of the pyramid.
The baseline of this whole Stephen the Park is that you just want to be good humans. And whatever that means, you just want to be good humans. And for that reason, we have created this idea of Firefly friendships. And I think it is so apropos that our last event is in the Smoky Mountains, the home of the synchronous firefly. I'll be on my way. Dream about the days to come when I won't have to feel alone, about the times I won't have to say. So kiss me and smile for me, tell me that you'll wait for me, hold me like you'll never let me go. I'm leaving on a jet plane, don't know when I'll be back again. Oh babe, I hate to go.
I just had to say this. When I first became aware of Daisha, and we were on the phone or emailing, and she was saying, we want to do this thing, it's going to be great. I was thinking, oh boy, we don't have hardly any room on our calendar, and it's always hard to squeeze in one more thing. And I was thinking, we'll have to see. But probably the second conversation or email, when I realized the whole framework of this has to do with generating something, then it got my attention, because we feel like all of the work that we want to do educationally should be generative. It should be something that, instead of tiring us out and wearing us down, it should be something inspiring and lifting us up and wanting to do something. We want to leave here like, I'm ready to go try something.
May the road rise with you. May the wind be ever at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May the rain fall soft upon your field. Till we meet again, may God hold you in the hollow of their hand.
And so when I heard that that was the undergirding of this whole program, I thought, okay, we can make room for that. And I'm so glad that we have. But I'm just excited about whatever comes out of y'all's collective thought and brain dump this afternoon. It's part of our challenge. Like, we feel really good about what we do and the education and the way we think about teaching kids and people, and, but we don't have our feet in the classroom. We have our feet kind of near the classroom, and we try to get into the schoolyards, but whatever y'all come up with is going to be really useful for us, and we're just excited about wherever it goes, and to have worked with y'all in this way.
May the road rise with you. May the wind be ever at your back. May the sun shine warm on your face. May the rain fall soft on your field till we meet again. May God hold you in the hollow of His hand.
We're calling.
Come on back down.
Everybody's looking down going, oh dear God, the salamander toxins. Got
Get your water bottles out and we'll have a little toast. So get your water bottles, open them up. A little toast here. Raise them high. Swish them around a little bit to make sure you get all the good stuff off the bottom. We'll have a toast to our fearless leaders, Steve and Daisha, who have done amazing work figuring all this stuff out.
Yep.
Right. Down the hatch.